My guest today is Ed Vincent. Ed Vincent is the CEO and founder at Festival Pass, which I see as the world's first live events subscription service across music, film, food, wine, theatre, tech, innovation, all that good stuff. So you can enjoy thousands of events locally and globally for one monthly fee, and I believe they're announcing some exciting integrations into Web3, so I'm sure we'll learn all about this today. Welcome to the show, Ed.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Andy. Appreciate you having me.
Well, Ed, let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. Love you to just introduce yourself. You've got quite an interesting background from what I can see. So please, whatever you want to share in terms of the lead up to what you're doing now at Festival Pass.
Sure. So I think you're correct. Every company is really about a collection of context and where somebody came from. And I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. Started as an investment banker out of college and had my first e-commerce company in 1999. We ended up selling that in 2001 in the good old internet 1.0 days. And then following that, a lot of this is relevant to Festival Pass. Following that, I had an agency, about a 70-person agency, that it was an experiential agency where we helped bring a lot of big national brands to live events. So a lot of that was big concerts or festivals or film festivals. We actually helped launch multiple film festivals, and we even own one down in the Dominican Republic called the Dominican International Film Festival. So we had a lot of fun down there. We helped bring brands like Maxim Magazine to create a hotel down there. So we were behind the creation of the Maxim bungalows in the Dominican Republic and numerous other things. But that's kind of where I fell in love with live events. And it was, what is the moment in time when you're physically at a place where it's either a small concert or a big festival, where it's a once in a lifetime moment with that audience, that artist, that experience. But that was, part of what I loved about live events. Fast forward, built a SaaS business in the franchise and multi-unit space. But what was important there is it really made me understand the concept of subscription and recurring revenue from a business model standpoint. Ended up selling that company in 2014. And then most of my time prior to Festival Pass, I had a data and analytics company. It was a consultancy for the entertainment space. So we had a lot of big brands here in North America, like A&E Networks. I guess it's pretty global. A&E Networks, AMC Networks. AMC was a lot of the shows people know, like Mad Men, Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, etc. We helped a lot of companies in the film space with their consumer data. So it was really important for me to understand what the consumer data play was. During that time, there was a subscription movie company that sought my company and myself out to help them understand data they had about 3.5 million subscribers to their subscription platform. So we came in and got to touch and feel that data and learn a lot about the business model. Theirs was not a great business model, but it allowed me to learn what to do and what not to do in that space. And then hence comes Festival Pass. It was a culmination of my love for commerce, subscription, live events, all coming together in this membership community. And so that's kind of my background leading up to today and why Festival Pass. But I'm sure when we get into Web3, I can talk a little more about the philosophy of Festival Pass.
Yeah, very nice, Ed, and well, that's well said, and you're exactly right. You've articulated, I suppose, your career path as an entrepreneur to date, and it sounds like it is all coming together with Festival Pass. Tell me then, if that's kind of, I guess the path, if not the origin story. What is the actual origin story for Festival Pass? When did you actually decide to start the company? And this is interesting, Ed, because of course it's been a tricky time in the world for live events across the last 2 years, obviously due to the pandemic. So you've got to have a little bit of faith, I suppose, that there's a future for the live event industry and that the pandemic is going to pass. I'm sure that adds another layer or another wrinkle to what you're doing in terms of creating this startup, right?
Yeah, very, very much so. So as you could imagine, I launched Festival Pass right at the beginning of COVID. It was maybe a month or two prior to COVID. We're all excited. We have our beta product out and got a little bit of investment, and then we launched, and there was no events to have. What was interesting at the time, as you probably remember, if you can think back, it didn't all shut down right away. People kind of were frozen in March of 2020, I guess that was. And we were in this place where it says, well, okay, this is only going to last for 3 months or 6 months and things will get back to normal. So we just kind of went down that path. And all of a sudden, about 3-4 months in, we realized that, hey, this could be much longer than that. And a lot of companies were pivoting immediately to live streaming. And that was always, everybody would ask the question, well, why don't you, just focus on live streaming? And, our philosophy at the time was, well, hey, we get that. And live streaming is a great, interesting thing, but the business we're building is all about providing a more seamless membership community way to get tickets to live events. So we realized that sometime in the future, and we still haven't really implemented it yet today, but as time goes on, there will be a complementary effect to be able to live stream as well as go to see in real life events. But we didn't pivot because of the fact is I just believe there was other people more suited to handle that. We didn't want to put a big investment into the technology of going and producing live streaming events. There's plenty of companies, Twitch and Instagram Live and Facebook Live, that really had that environment out there. So we wanted to find ways that if and when live streaming was part of our world, it would just be a complementary revenue stream for the venue, for the artist, not what it started out being and kind of still is today. For a lot of the art, there's not much of a business model to it today. There's some bigger artists that can charge for a live stream, but it was really about keeping them relevant during the time. So there was a lot of free live streaming shows in order to keep the fan base, but that didn't help any of the small artists that usually make their money touring.
Yeah, that makes sense, Ed. All right, well, let's start to learn a little bit more about Festival Pass. So you talk about, how the company was founded on a mission to inspire people to lead active and engaging lives through passion-connected member experiences. Look, I've just pulled this from your website, right? And so members of Festival Pass can enjoy all these live events, everything from the kind of the big name festivals like Coachella and so on, through to the big shows with all the big music artists, and I'm sure of course smaller bespoke festivals as well. So just expand on that and tell us how that works. So do people, they pay kind of one annual fee, or how does that work?
Yeah, so in its simplest form, it's either a monthly or an annual membership. People can pay as low as $19 a month up to $99 a month. And what they get in return for that subscription are credits. And the credits that they get, they can choose to redeem for any of the 80,000 live events. We also have 600,000 hotel rooms on the platform, but they can choose to use their credits in any way they want to use them. So at $99 a month, they're receiving 90 credits a month, right? So they can choose to, then those credits roll over like a bank account. So if they don't use it in month 1, by month 2, they have 180 credits, then 270 credits. So the idea is that, a small show in their local neighborhood at a local venue might be 20 credits or 15 credits. But if they want to, save up and go to Coachella, they might be spending 300-400 credits. So the idea is you can use and spend that however you want. And the real value proposition, in addition to just being part of this membership community and getting a bunch of different perks, is in the world of live event ticketing, nobody has any love for most ticketing companies. There is a large fees that usually get charged in the ticketing space, and part of it is less about even the fee itself. It's a lot of it is the transparency. So a lot of people get frustrated when they think they're buying $100 ticket, and by the time they check out, it's $170, and they're like, well, how did that happen? So we're all about having no fees on top of it. So whatever the credit price is that you see, that's what you pay. There's no additional ticketing fees put on top of it in the end. So net, our members will always pay less than if they went anywhere else to get a ticket. And the reality of it is we're willing to give some of our margin back to our members because they're willing to commit to a monthly subscription.
Yeah, very nice, Ed. And most listeners to the Crypto Conversation podcast are based in the US. So I'm based in New Zealand, but obviously crypto blockchain just being a global thing, most of our listeners happen to be in the US. Am I right in thinking this is primarily a US based service or platform to begin with? But if that's the case, are there plans to expand or not?
Yeah, it sounds like you just read the Billboard article that we were in on Friday. So the answer is yes. We are North America predominantly now, and our goal is to expand globally. So as we continue to grow in North America, we have a target of about 1 million members here in North America, and then we'll expand to Europe, probably Europe first, and then kind of your way, Australia, New Zealand second, and then obviously depending upon the timing and energy, the resources and demand, we'll be looking at Asia and Latin America as well.
Fantastic. Well, talk to me, Ed. I'd be interested to hear. I suppose the kind of the user growth in the platform. Any user metrics that you're watching that you're happy to share or comment on. What's that looking like at the moment?
Yeah, so I would say it's twofold. So it wasn't really until the end of last year where there was a substantial amount of live events available in our inventory. So it's been this process to do it. So we have over 60,000 members on the platform today, looking to grow to 1 million members in North America. But now that we have over 80,000 live events, we're really at the place of kind of increasing our velocity of acquiring new members. And that part of it includes a lot of the marketing efforts that we're undergoing now, as well as, really leaning heavily into the Web3 space. And I can explain a little bit about how Web3 is going to be is already part of our, intertwined philosophy on where our growth is going.
Well, that's a perfect segue, Ed. You've done it for me. So look, let's talk Web3, and I'm excited to kind of hear what your plans are here because from my point of view, I really enjoy NFTs. I'm sure NFTs are part of it, and I think two of the big use cases for NFTs are the music industry, and even which is kind of specific to you, but even more specific to what you're doing. It's as part of ticketing, right? So I'm sure you've got some good ideas. So yeah, let's hear how Web3 relates to festivalPass.
Sure. So I'll start with the simple concept of the philosophy, even more so than the technology. And the technology is definitely important. So yes, from a technology standpoint, we currently accept crypto for our subscriptions and for ticketing. But more importantly is the philosophy, and I'll get into the NFT stuff. But when we started out the company, over 3 years ago, when we were building right before COVID, it was really this idea that we wanted it to be a membership community. The idea that people that join this community around a certain passion point can connect together and they get rewarded for the growth of the company. Different than many of the Web2 companies that you find in the ticketing space as it exists today. And you can probably not even call the ticketing space Web2. They're still in the Web 1.0 world where it's just purely transactional. So we set out to build this community-driven business. And then in 2021, as NFTs became more and more, prevalent or people became more aware of it, it really kind of helped bolster the point of why we even started the business. Obviously the philosophy of NFTs and Web3 is really about, mutual ownership, whether that ownership doesn't necessarily have to be an equity of the company. It could be an ownership of the overall community and the overall project and the overall path. So it really fit with our kind of overall philosophy. So I just wanted to share that because at the core, from day one, our philosophy is about community, and that's why when the NFTs started becoming more relevant, being a financial guy from my early days, I always kind of look at any kind of digital asset and say, well, okay, what else does it get for you in order to participate in this? So when NFTs came out, a lot of people, as you know, and people probably talk about this often on your show, looked at it, solely as some kind of digital art or a collectible that may or may not go up in value in the future. I look at it as the beauty of it, and this is more the technology side, is the underlying smart contract that really drives the ability to have utility. So for us, especially with Festival Pass, we're super excited about, not only do we have really cool art in our upcoming Founder NFT, which I can share, but what in addition to that, it's really about the utility. So it's a lifetime founder NFT. And what that means is anybody that owns that NFT has a lifetime membership to Festival Pass at the founder level. And that founder level comes with about $1,200 worth of credits annually. So if you own the NFT, every single year you own that NFT, you can not redeem, you just go to your account, connect your wallet, and you'll get 1,200 credits put into your account. And you can use those to go to any of the 80,000 live events on the platform. In addition, there's other beautiful aspects of the NFT, including we're going to be doing quarterly kind of bucket list events that nobody could ever have access to. So because of the ability to have this membership community and our relationships in the, in the kind of live event space, we'll have things like a small show, a few hundred people with a A-list artist that comes and only plays to our NFT holders. Or we'll do something where it'll be a sporting event and they'll be in the luxury box, and after the game, they'll have dinner with the players. It goes on, the kind of things we're going to do, but each quarter we're going to do these really curated, cool events, and only the NFT holders can access those events. So part of it is you immediately get utility because now you own it. You can go to any event you want to go to on the platform with your 1,200 credits annually. And then you get a VIP experience because then only the NFT holders get to go to these amazing quarterly events. And obviously we have other things on the roadmap, down the road.
Yeah, that's exciting, Ed. I'm feeling the FOMO already, all the way from New Zealand. Just talk to me a little bit for people who are also starting to get excited by this. When do these founder NFTs become available? What is the rough kind of cost ballpark? Where do people get them? And how will these be tradable ongoing? Will they be kind of on open marketplaces or in some kind of like Festival Pass marketplace? Presumably the actual founder NFT will be on sellable and tradable as well in the future.
Yes, yes, and yes. So I'll explain it all. So one thing to share, it's on Ethereum if you want to know which chain it's on. And we chose that for a reason. As you can imagine, they'll be slightly more expensive at mint than a traditional NFT that doesn't really come with a lot of utility. So the gas fees in Ethereum aren't a substantial part of the overall NFT itself. Therefore, we chose Ethereum as a pretty stable chain to do it on. So that's the first thing. The other thing I want to share, and then I can get into the pricing, is we're doing it kind of in a unique way. I don't know if anybody else has done this, and hopefully it plays out correctly. We're doing it there's 10,000 in the total collection, but there's going to be 10 tranches of that total collection. So each tranche will be 1,000 NFTs. And then as soon as the first tranche sells out, the second one will go live and the price will increase. So, and the other thing is each tranche also has a different piece of art. So it's a different character. So we call it the Festival Family. And the reason is when you think of people going to live events, everybody comes with kind of a different persona of why they like live events. One might be like the first tranche I can share it's more of a rocker character. So, it may look like an artist like a Lenny Kravitz, if you've ever seen a Lenny Kravitz before, and it has really cool, art to it, and you really feel like you're a VIP rocker. And then some of the other personas for the other tranches, one might be a female rocker, one might be a DJ, one might be a sport player. So there's going to be a fun family of characters. So now the key is tranche one. And I will share, it will go live for around 0.75 ETH. And then each tranche thereafter will go up. So it's likely to be about 0.75 ETH for tranche one. Tranche two will be about 0.95. Tranche three might be 1.15. And really the goal is over time to incentivize and encourage people who get in early that they get an amazing deal. So, in today's prices, and we'll find out by the time we launch, in today's prices, it's only about $1,500 at 0.75 ETH for a lifetime membership that gives you back $1,200 a year in credits. So it's a pretty awesome deal for the first tranche.
Yeah, very much so. It sounds like a good deal indeed, and I love the way you've kind of framed the different characters, like the rocker. When I think of Lenny Kravitz, Ed, perhaps showing my my generational age just slightly, but I think leather pants for sure. But like, with that in mind, slight segue, Ed, but yeah, obviously, passionate about the live music experience, and it's part of. I think it's just part of human nature. For some reason, we are drawn to these live experiences, and they are best experienced with other people, right? Talk to me about what you see as the kind of the magic of the live experience, and why it kind of resonates with people, and why we seek it out, why it's such a rite of passage for youth culture.
Yeah, I mean, there's you say youth culture, but I'm not a youth anymore, nor it sounds like if you know Lenny from the days, you might not be either. So
Yeah.
I think it's all generations. It's interesting that you bring it up though, as millennial and Gen Zs tend to put experiential life above things. So, we've kind of built the target from day one, towards millennial and Gen Zs. However, we do see a bunch of our members being of all ages. It really depends. Like, people that are more into food and wine tend to be a little older, and then there's plenty of people going to different festivals with some old bands. I mean, I even went to the, you remember the Who from the from the 70s and 80s. I just went to a concert
Yes.
recently in Austin, and it was fun to see the collection of people there. But even that's a great example of I'm sitting at a brand new arena in Austin, Texas, and the Who comes out. Roger Daltrey is still jamming on the guitar like he did 50 years ago. I can't say, I'm sorry, Roger Daltrey. He's the singer. Pete Townshend's jamming on the guitar, but Daltrey, I can't say Roger Daltrey's voice was as good as it was back in the day, but Pete Townsend sure can play the guitar just as good. But there's just a special feeling when your music is one, but the same goes for sport. Like, we have all of the predominant professional sporting events on our platform, from football to hockey to baseball, and we have a lot of college sports on our platform as well. And it's just fascinating when people get together towards some kind of common passion, and they can share that experience with others that share in that common passion. Magic happens.
Yeah, wonderfully said, Ed. Magic happens indeed. And just to, I guess, briefly bring it back to crypto, I liked also, Ed, that you said, I think that people can buy, any kind of transactions they're making with Festival Pass, they can pay using crypto if they opt to. So look, I understand it's still early days, but are you seeing people take advantage of that? How many people are using crypto in that way at the moment?
Not too many. It's still early. So, one of the things that we've done in order to kind of bridge that gap is, if you go to our site, you'll see a section called Festival Pass University. And that section is all about trying to educate people into the crypto space. The one thing that's fascinating to me is you have people that probably listen to this show, or the native crypto folks that already have a wallet. They already own ETH or Bitcoin, or many other assets. But then there's this large group that says they're crypto curious, and they want to know, how do I do this? What can I be? How can I participate in it? And of course, as we're speaking now, there's been a little bit of a downturn in the asset side of crypto, but it doesn't take away from, everything will be Web3 in the future. And it's always interesting in cycles of life and economies when people, see a downturn in assets, and they think that that's, reminiscent of what's to come. And, obviously, I don't see it in Web 1.0 when I was there. The whole thing crashed, and everybody said, "Oh, this internet thing, that's never going to happen." obviously we know better today. So I do believe that most businesses will be Web3 very soon, but over the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I very much agree with you, Ed. And we see it happening now. Even though you're quite right. Obviously, there's a bit of a market downturn, but there's so many of the big global brands that are kind of tapped into. I mean, I hate to say youth culture again, but I'm thinking of brands like Adidas, Nike, Puma. They have all announced, they're all on various different stages of their kind of metaverse Web3 NFT empowered journeys. But so once you see those kind of brands taking part, then the floodgates are not far off opening, and it's all just part of the journey as we kind of there's bumps along the way, but adoption doesn't happen in a straight line, but it sure is happening, right, Ed?
I agree. No, I agree. And part of what I was saying is that by using the university as an approach to educate people and help them along the way in bite sizes, we're doing our best to take a live events community and that I'm sure want to know more about it, and give them the opportunity to learn and then participate.
Absolutely. Well, as we start to finish off this part of the podcast, Ed, please look, anything else that you want to share in terms of what you guys are building at Festival Pass, anything in the product pipeline, and of course, please do tell people where they should go to really dig into what you guys have got on offer.
Sure. I do want to answer a question you asked before that I ignored, not purposely, but I just remembered, is you asked about the secondary market. So absolutely, when somebody mints the NFT, it will immediately be available on OpenSea or any of the other marketplaces for them to be able to trade.
Nice.
And to me, that's important, right? Is at the end of the day, one of the things I believe in is the community being able to participate. And even when we first started the company, we have a lot of great investors that are pretty what's the word, accomplished in what they've done. It includes people like a hockey player for the New York Rangers, a co-founder of HomeAway. I'm sure you guys know HomeAway, even in Australia. It's the Airbnb competitor.
Yes.
There's a CEO of a movie chain called Alamo Drafthouse here in the States. A lot of these people are all investors in the company. And we also kind of did a little bit of crowdfunding early on just to go through the process of the philosophy of letting the people that are members also participate in owning part of the company. And what I found so interesting about the NFT space is I love that secondary markets are immediate. So a lot of times when people invest, even for equity in early stage companies, you don't always have an immediate ability to turn that asset into cash if you needed to in the future, i.e. there's no liquidity. And I thought what I love about what we're doing is, you can mint it tomorrow and you could enjoy $1,200 worth of live events for a year. And a year from now, you could say, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna be going to that many live events anymore, so I'm gonna sell it. And you can get not only likely your money back that you paid originally, and you would have had free events for a year, but you're likely going to get much, much more for it. So it's just a fascinating thing that I think the NFT is a beautiful place where not only can you have a secondary market and liquidity for even, NFTs that provide a utility. So anyway, it's a lot of fun.
And just tell people where they should go to learn all about the Festival Pass platform.
Yeah, of course. So obviously festivalpass.com is the website that is the core underlying product itself that you'd be buying into. For the NFT, we'll be launching a microsite very soon called festivalfamily.live. And I can share with you some of this for your show notes, but festivalfamily.live. And we're minting right through our own environment. So once you come on to any of that, when we're ready to do the public mint, it will be nft.festivalpass.com, and we'll be minting directly ourselves onto Ethereum. And then, of course, our socials. So we're on join if anybody wants to get in on the allow list, which is, going to be pretty unique because obviously that first tranche is going to be so much cheaper. So they can come to our Discord, and there's a lot of opportunities within our Discord in order to find paths to get on the allow list. But we're on Instagram, festival _pass on Instagram, get festival pass on Twitter. But I'll share a bunch of that with you so you can have it in your show notes.
Hey, sounds good to me, Ed. And are you much of an NFT guy yourself? Are you an NFT collector? You certainly sound like you might be.
Yeah. So as I started, going to, I'm not an OG like some of they call, the whales that are out there. But I've dabbled in trying to find ones that are meaningful to me. I have 3 daughters. So there's this collection called, I think it's called Fierce Females. And it was a collection of, 10,000 model-like characters that, were created out of a group in New York that I bought one. I gave my out of my 3 daughters, one selected the one she wanted. The other 2 said they're going to pick theirs. Haven't picked them yet. And then because I'm a dad, I bought into Crypto Dads, if you're familiar with that project. And then I'm also part of a DAO here in Austin called ATX DAO. And, that was another membership community that I bought into, and I, have an NFT for them. And, and again, just, there's just a few of the examples of the ones that are meaningful to me. And I'm always willing to try. I just tried to buy an NFT yesterday for a hotel in New York City that was providing rooms through the NFT just to see how it worked. And I put a bid in. They didn't bite yet. We'll see.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Ed. And look, I mean, I have to say, I relate, and I think I probably have a similar experience in that, I'm a dad as well, Ed. And it's funny how NFTs are just fun, right? It's like I think that's why I view NFTs and I suppose Web3 and metaverse, all this stuff is inevitable, really, for a few different reasons. Partly just because of obviously the increasing digitization of everything, and just the utility and the personal ownership and the community and all that stuff that NFTs unlock. But apart from that, it's just fun, right?
I agree. You're actually playing in something that you can actually engage in. So it's not just, hey, I bought a share of Tesla and maybe once in a while I'll look to see if it goes up or not. You actually can engage in that ownership, which is so much fun. I agree.
All right. That feels like a nice place to go to a very quick break. We'll go to a break and we'll be back in 1 second. To finish off, we'll run Ed through the very famous Crypto Conversation hot take round. All right, we are back, and if you're watching on YouTube, well, we're still here. But as you know, I'm with Ed Vincent. Ed is the CEO and the founder, I believe, of Festival Pass. We've been talking everything from live music and sporting events to Web3, NFTs, and of course the Festival Pass founding NFT, which is going to be releasing soon, and that sounds pretty cool. But Ed, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Just going to throw some quick questions at you, Ed. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Just give me your answers, hot take style. Question 1 is, where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
Yeah, I believe in the future of DeFi. I believe in the future of Bitcoin. I believe in the ability for it to be an asset that can be a stable asset. The idea of multiple chains and multiple currencies, I think, exists just like in any business, that they will be there. Those assets will exist, and it will have to shake out depending upon the way the community allows it to. Just like any kind of efficient marketplace.
Very well said, Ed. Okay, well, what would you say then is your firmest conviction, crypto opinion?
Firmest conviction is that Web3 is here to stay. NFTs, the value of NFTs just hasn't been seen yet, and that value is the utility. I think NFTs eventually in our business, as I was mentioned, will become the tickets themselves. It's still 3 to 5 years out because of a lot of the tech debt of some of the ticketing agencies, but that will be normal. Real estate will be fractionalized by NFTs. Many things will be done in the NFT space. So I'm a big fan of where it's going to go. It will be here forever. And I'm excited to see we're only in inning one of a long baseball game.
Yeah, we're only in innings one, indeed. And if that's the case, then Ed, it reminds me of a quote by Bill Gates, who famously said, "We tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10." So 10 years, it's a long time. Whatever you like, blockchain, Web3, or the intersection of all of this with the live events industry. What does it look like in 10 years' time?
Yeah, I mean, I said a little bit. In 3 to 5 years, I think every single ticket that you go to will be an NFT. It just makes sense, right? And it will be beneficial to even some of the larger players in Web 2 to move to a Web 3 environment. In 10 years, I just believe that there'll be more community participation where the audience themselves will be participating in the show, and the artist will have a lot more say in the ownership of how things get produced, right? So, in the old days, there's always been this centralized management. I won't talk names, but some of the big ticketing companies also are the big producers. So there's a lot of forced process, and that forced process takes away from some of the benefits of those artists, to be able to do what they want to do, to be able to engage in the audience they want to engage to. So I just do believe that it's going to be more democratic, a more democratized way for artists and their fans to engage.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, Ed. Well, the kind of the flip side of looking too far into the future is this quote by William Gibson, who said that the future is actually already here. It's just not evenly distributed, right? So,
Yeah.
if we think about it in those terms, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people just aren't really aware of it?
Um, Good question. So, in terms, I guess it doesn't have to be in the crypto space, but you're just talking about life in general. Um, Yeah, you got me. I mean, I can talk about electric cars. I can talk about the path towards you know decentralized engagement everywhere. Um, yeah, I mean, it happens in so many different places. But you're right. It's like even Web3 is just a great example, right? Is that there's a very small percentage of people participating in this community, but 95% of the world has no idea what it is.
Yeah, that's right. I think Web3 and NFTs are a perfect example, and just we're just early, and it shows how long the runway is and how much room there is in this market to grow in the years to come. There'll be lots of wonderful experiments. There'll be some disasters, but that's part of the process. Time to zoom out, though, Ed. Time to get weird for just a second. What do you see as the long-term future for the human race? Do you see dystopia or utopia?
Yeah, well, I'm a internal optimist, and I will always be an optimist. So I always think of the best in people. So obviously that would move to utopia as opposed to dystopia. But I do believe that it's going to be a change in the world order. I mean, I don't want to get too deep into the economic side of it, but for the good or the bad, China will has the size, or I think I heard a quote today actually when I was listening to a couple shows out of Davos, is that the democratic world is only 12% of the entire population of the world. And that's scary, right? That's scary. So part of it is to hope that the democratic world continues to impress upon other parts of the world to enable us to come together in a way where there's equality that can exist, right? One of the hardest parts is the largest populations of the world, China, India, and others aren't living in a true democracy. India maybe is a part democracy, but the idea that how do we get a larger population of the world to find a democratic, equitable distribution of people and resources in a way that they can do so outside of the confines of their government. And in a way, that's, again, we're back to crypto and decentralization is, it may be the one thing that breaks the border control of a specific country or society to suppress the large populations from finding middle class success.
I love it. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Ed. The final question is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
It's funny that we're talking about things that are somewhat science fiction, but I've always preferred comedies and and other fun stuff. So if the Young Frankenstein movie can be considered science fiction in any capacity, that has a little comedy thrown into it, that would be it. So I haven't been like a massive Star Wars or Star Trek or that kind of guy. I mean, I like the movies, but I don't have an answer for you because I'm not deep into sci-fi.
That's okay. I love that you've gone for Young Frankenstein. That's and I can say with confidence that in 230 something episodes of the Crypto Conversation, I'm pretty sure that's the first time we've had a guest go for Young Frankenstein. So well done. Thank you, Ed. We have reached the end of the show. Thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed talking to you. I think Festival Pass, it sounds amazing. Sounds like a great idea. So look, please, again, just use this final opportunity to tell the people where they can find you on Twitter, wherever else on the internet you like to hang out, and of course, where they can go to learn more about Festival Pass and that founding NFT. Of course, it'll all be in the show notes as well.
Awesome. Yep. Festivalpass.com, the easiest way to learn about the company, and festivalfamily.live is you'll learn about the project. From there, you'll find all of our socials and everything else.
Awesome. Hey, thank you very much, Ed. All the best, and bye for now.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, there you go. That was Ed from Festival Pass. Sounds like a pretty cool idea, I think, especially obviously if you're based in the US, which I aren't, but I'm sure, there'll be lots of these kind of communities springing up all over the world. But if you're in the US, Festival Pass sounds like a good one. Sounds like be a really good idea to get hold of one of those founding NFT memberships as well. You get, 1,200 credits every year, and all sorts of interesting, exotic, bespoke experiences by the sound of it, which is really what it's all about. So, hey, sounds good. Thank you for coming on, Ed. Thank you, listeners, for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the Crypto Conversation in whatever podcast app you are using, or even here on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. But for today, that's today's show. Thank you. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave and Yukon. See ya.